Mhm. Also going to have a nice time today because I had a nice time yesterday.
All right. So, what we have done as of now is what we have seen uh, how we are going to be hunting for the threat. We have we have seen various methodologies of using various tools to identify the threats, right? So that's what we have seen. We have seen SGIL, we have seen ELSA, we have seen BRO, right? So we have seen little bit of attacks, and we have seen um, how to identify the threat which happened against your network. We have seen a couple of things, right? Now, so why these activities that we have performed is what? Basically, you need to know how a threat can be hunted within an organization. So we have seen the threat hunting activities. So who is responsible for doing all these activities? The SOC team, which is responsible for doing these activities, so that they will be able to identify any of the threats against their organization, and then it can be reported, or the organization may have certain specific set of reactions towards the threats. So if the organization knows that the threat is happening, obviously they'll be in the position to fight against that, right? So that's the point. That's the point we are trying to make it here. So the SOC is responsible for hunting for the threats. How we are going to be doing that one is through the set of activities. And these activities are called as what? Plays, right? So let me write that one. So play is nothing but an activity related to threat hunting, right? So we also have something called as a playbook, which is nothing but set of activities. No, say for example, if you have some department, let's say HR department, let's say finance department, what do they do normally? They're going to be carrying out a set of activities, right? Finance team will be responsible for budgeting, allocating funds, and looking into the collection part. I mean, how much money, the profit and loss, all those calculations they will be doing. That is their playbook. What is the playbook for SOC team is a set of cyber hunting activity is what we call it as a SOC playbook. What is the play? A play is a specification of reproducible activity carried out within the SOC. You understand what I'm saying? So what is a playbook? Playbook is nothing but a package of cyber hunting activity, which will consist of plays. What is the play? Play is nothing but a specification of reproducible activity carried out within the SOC. Right? So when something happens, what we have to do? There might be set of routine activities the SOC will be performing, right? So if something happens, for events, alerts, transactional logs, all those things are what? We are collecting the information about something, and then we are sending it to a centralized SIEM kind of a tool where the analysis is going to be happening. Lot of informations will be collected, but we could be configuring these logs to produce some alert to alert the security operations center team, so that they will be digging further to get the clarity on how the threat happened, who is launching who is attacking us. Those kind of informations can be analyzed. These play can be manually you will be doing everything. It can be semi-automated or fully automated. It can be anything, right? So depending on the set of tools what you have, depending on the resources what you have, you may be going only with manual, or some of the activities can be semi-automated, and some of the activities are fully automated. So what I'm trying to say here is SOC is a team responsible for doing certain set of activities. Each and every activity is known as a play. That play is going to be manually executed or automated, semi-automated or fully automated. The collection of play is what we typically call it as playbook, right? You understand what I'm saying? What is a play and what is a playbook? See, that's the terminology that we need to understand. Depending on the department, every department will have the certain set of activities. In SOC, there is a terminology called as a play and playbook. What is a play? A play is nothing but a reproducible activity. When it comes to playbook is nothing but a collection of plays. These play can be manual, can be semi-automated, can be fully automated. So depending on the resource what you have within the organization, you may be identifying a play as a manual activity or semi-automated activity or fully automated activity. If you have good amount of resources, you can also go for fully automated play, right? You cannot have everything as a fully automated. Certain activities must be manual activities only. Now, depending on the type of organization or depending on the type of SOC or organization to organization, the play and playbook can be different. Don't expect that every SOC will be having same set of playbook. The playbook can be different depending on the organization and depending on their business. Their threats will be different, the risk will be different, their priorities will be different, the SOC resources can also be different. So if you have different types of threats, different types of risk, different types of priorities, and the amount of resources you have, you may have different playbooks as well. So this is going to be giving you just an idea about what is the playbook, what is the play. Understand this, where you're going to be having your, see, depending on the organization on which you're going to be working, the play can be different, the playbook can be different. The playbook is going to be the living document, right? So individual plays are created, modified, and retired over time. So as the new threats are coming in, new plays can be created, or an existing play could also be modified. You cannot expect that the play are going to be permanently available or permanently executable in a SOC. It's quite possible it may be having the play, whatever you have defined, can live for long. But we cannot say that. We cannot give any sort of assurance on that. The format of the play could be different for SOC to SOC as well. Now, some basic set of informations could be there. So when I say a play, it can have a description, it can have an assignee, it can have the frequency, it can have escalation hierarchy, and then it can also have something called as what? Methodology. Just an idea about a play. See, what is a play? As I said earlier, it is nothing but a reproducible activity within the SOC, right? So when I say an activity, what are all the set of informations that could be there? A description is nothing but a high-level description of the rationale behind the play. Why we have to do this one? Assignee is nothing but designates who is responsible for running the play. So there will be so many people who will be part of the Security Operations Center. Who is responsible for running this play? So even though you have a team called the SOC, there will be more number of, what is it called? There will be more number of people who will be carrying out some specific activities, and they will be responsible for certain specific activities as well. If this is what is happening, Bola is responsible. If this is what is happening, Obuke is responsible. Like that, the responsibility is going to be distributed. For these set of activities, who's going to be responsible? And frequency is nothing but how often the play should run. So description is nothing but the description. Assignee is nothing but who is responsible for carrying out this activity. Frequency is how often it has to run. Escalation is nothing but if something found, to whom I have to report to, right? I'm just producing the play, whatever I'm carrying out is coming up with some result. I have some specific activity that need to be informed. To whom it has to be informed? Maybe I'll be having a tier 2 analyst, tier 3 analyst, or someone else it has to be reported to, right? That is what the escalation is all about. Methodology is nothing but a clear description of the activity that must be performed by the play assignee. See, we have the methodology. The assignee is going to be carrying out the activity. How? What he has to do it. So we know what is the play now, what is the playbook, what is the what are all the components of a play. So how the play is going to be executed. What all the components are associated to play? What is play? Who is responsible? How often it has to be executed? If something found, to whom it has to be reported to? Methodology is nothing but the activity that we actually perform, how we are going to be performing this activity. So this is what typically is going to be considered as a playbook. Now, depending on the organization type, depending on the resources what you have, we will be defining the set of plays, right? So let's see certain activities as well. Let me see whether the lab is started or not. All right. Okay. Now the lab is started. I'm getting into security onion. You're familiar with security onion, right? But anyway, still a lot of things are there within the security onion. But anyway, we will try to understand certain things today. Now we know what is ELSA. We're getting into this ELSA. Okay. So the username is so 1, 2, 3, and the exclamatory symbol. I'm logging into it. Okay. Now, so ELSA can be used to query the logs, right? Typically, the data, what is associated or what is available within ELSA can be queried between, say, the last 48 hours of data alone can be queried. That is the behavior of it, right? So when I execute a query, I'm trying to find something from the data which is available within your ELSA. Now, if I have to modify, let's see here, from to, see here, what is there? 25/3/2024, 15/082. This is the time associated to the security onion virtual machine. Now, so this is what the typical time period of the data which can be queried. Whatever the query that you pass on here, right, which will be carried out, or this query is going to be executed on the data only on the last 48 hours of it. If you would like to execute the query on a specific data, because see, it has its own way of storing the data. We have something like how the archiving is going to be happening with respect to the data collected on the security onion and all. But anyway, let's try to understand here. We know that only the last 48 hours of data is currently available for querying. But if you are very specific about some specific date of the logs that you have to query, you can mention the from and to. But anyway, now here we have some data that has been produced and stored within your security onion. That is the data that we are going to be querying it. Okay. Now here, this is going to be 2000, let's say. You remember yesterday we were talking about we have seen some logs from 2016, right? Now, this time, we are looking into the logs which are dated 2017, 01, and 24. This is the start date. And the end date is going to be 2017, 01, and 25. This is what? So typically, this is going to be the last, what is it called? The date of log that I'm going to be analyzing is on 24 2017 to 25/01/2017. This is the data I'm interested in. You're getting my point? So this is where some specific activities are there that I'm not interested in the. Okay. So I'm typically saying that from this date to this date is what I'm interested in. So whatever the query that I execute here, right, will be um, uh, will be will be sent to the data between these two dates. So the query is going to be performed on the data 24/1/2017 to 25/1/2017. Okay. Now, let's say that let's take some cases and then we will see what we are trying to do here. Let's say some play. Play number 1. What is that? 404. Do you know what is 404?
Yeah, error
Have you
code.
seen? Sorry?
Error
Error.
message.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you properly.
Like an error message.
Exactly. What error message? On HTTP. Whenever you are requesting a web server for a specific resource, if that resource is not available on the web server, that is where the 404 is going to be coming. Right? Okay, let me show you that also. Minimize this one. And then let's say that. I know that there is nothing called Gopi Venkatesan. Okay. Now, what will happen? I'm sending the request to genesis.in with the name of Gopi Venkatesan. If that resource is not available, I should receive this 404 error. Can you see that? So 400 to 499 are the error messages on the web server. That is purely dependent. 401 could be different, 402 can be different. But 404, if the resource is not available, only then this page is going to be shown to you, right? This page is not available or not found, whatever it is. Now, this could be looking normal to us. But what if there are so many 404 messages are being generated and forwarded to the clients? What do you suspect? I'm just giving you a play, right? The details of the play is what? 404. The 404 is nothing but an error message when the resource is not available. When the requested resource is not available on the web server, it can generate the 404 message as the response code and forward it to the client. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? What is this 404 error message? Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear, Mr. Gopi.
But if it is going to be one time from the client, it is okay. But if you see that continuous 404 messages are being generated by the web server, understand that it could be, right? It could be a kind of a scan which is being performed on the web server. See, if only once you are seeing it, it is okay. If you see multiple 404 messages, understand that it could be a possible attack towards the web server. You're getting my point? So if you see that large number of HTTP 404 responses, understand that it has to be escalated according to your escalation process. Now I'm defining a play. I'm interested in creating a play which will focus on lot of 404 messages generated by my web server could be a possible threat. If I find that one, I need to report it to my tier 2, tier 3 analyst. Okay. Now, who is going to be the assignee here? A tier 1 engineer of the SOC. Now, how often this activity needs to be carried out? Every day.
Every time.
No, see, every day, the moment we come in, by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock of when the work starts, we need to find, was there any attack happened against my web server? Was there any 404 messages generated by my web server? If it is crosses this particular threshold number, then it has to be identified as a potential threat against the web server. We need to escalate it to the maybe my escalation could be my tier 2 engineer. If I find a lot of 404 messages, I presume that it could be a potential threat or a scan happened against my web server. Then I'm just reporting this to my escalation, my tier 2 security analyst. Now, the methodology is what? How do you find? How do you find? We know that Bro is a tool which is available within my security onion, right? Which is collecting the HTTP related transaction data within ELSA. Now, if I can find from one single source, multiple requests is coming in, or from one single source, multiple error messages are going on, then I can confirm that it could be a possible scan against my web server. Now, you should know how to execute the query and how do you construct the query and how do you execute the query. We already know the query can be executed here, but what query that you are interested in? Now, I would like to run a class of bro_HTTP, right? So I'm using the bro HTTP. The status message I'm interested in is code 404. And then I'm going to be grouping by the source IP. So this is the query I'm performing. If you want this query, I can share it also with you. I will do that. I will paste this one here. This is the query that I'm, oh my goodness, it cannot be copied from here. Okay, let me write it here. Class is equal to bro underscore HTTP. Status code that I'm interested in is 404. I would like to group by source IP, right? Now, what basically this is going to be doing, it will be digging into the data which is available within my ELSA, right? Now, the ELSA has been configured to fetch the data, or the query is going to be applied on this data, right? If anything found, that is going to be shown to me. Now, there are three sets of information here. One is the query. Second is on the data. The data we are mentioning by the date, from date and to date. When I submit the query, it is going to be executed. Oh my God. See here, how many queries are there? Right? Okay. Now, if you see this one, there are so many entries related to, what is that called? Can you see 8,008 queries or 8,008 messages I found, which is originated from 203.0.113.67? Can you find that one? See, there are a couple of entries from 10.10.3.33, 1404 message got generated. 10.10.6.132, 1404 message can be has been generated. Whereas from this 203.0.113.67, how many messages has been generated? 404 messages have been generated. Now, understand that this could be a possible threat, right? We just need to report it to our tier 2 analyst for further investigation, or maybe they'll be taking some actions towards it. You're getting my point? Now, if I click on this, you can see the messages. Can you see them? Now, everything, okay, visible for you. Is that visible for you? The text is very, very, very small. Okay. So here, understand that what is the possibility? You can find one of the information. Can you see here? What is this written? What is this written? Is that readable for you? Okay, let me try to increase the font size so that it will be easy.
It is readable.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Now, what is written here? Nikto. What is Nikto? Since we don't have internet access on the this particular virtual machine, I'm trying to search on Nikto on the. I know that it's a vulnerability scanner. Can you see that? Nikto is an open source web server scanner that performs vulnerability scanning against the web server for multiple items. Now, the moment I have seen this Nikto, I can understand that somebody has performed scanning on against my web server. But who? How do I know that one? Which I'm not aware of it. See, the only thing what I'm just getting the information from this is what? My web server has produced more than 8,404 messages. But who has performed this scan? I don't know. But here, the destination IP, host one, source IP is one, source port is one, destination IP is one. That means from one single IP, the request came in for which the server has responded with 404 messages. How many messages have been generated? 8,008 messages have been generated. Right? Now, this could be a possible threat. Now, the moment I have seen this one, right, I'm just executing this query every day. When I see this kind of information, I'm considering this could be a possible threat. I'm escalating this information to the tier 2 analyst for the further investigation. Now, I can also do something here. Instead of the source IP, let me change this one. I would like to group by destination IP. Okay. Now, the same query is being passed. Then you can see that. I don't know why it's not coming in, not responding. No, why is not responding? Okay, let me modify the query. Do you remember the date? 2017-01-24. That's my start date. Destination 2017 01 2025. The query what I would like to perform is class is equal to bro underscore http status underscore code is equal to 404 group by colon est. Okay, this is the query that I'm interested in. And it is coming up with a set of information. Sorry, this is supposed to be a source. But this is also okay only, not a problem. I'm wondering, my query was different. That's why. This way also we can do it. Destination IP directly, if I pass on, I can see from which IP the query came in. Now, when I click this one, I can see that a lot of server responses, 404 responses, and I identified that it is related to NECTO. It's a vulnerability scanner. Now, I would like to see the information related to the destination IP. Now, you can see that from one specific IP, we got a lot of requests. From which IP? 10.10.4.35. So 10.10.4.35. From this IP only, we have received a lot of requests. Now, we can take the screenshot of this, and then we can make it as an escalation report, forward it to the tier 2. They will take care of it. Or else, you can also create a ticket depending on the ticketing system, what you have within an organization. You can create a ticket, assign it to the tier 2 analyst, right? Then you can feed in all the set of information about what you have noticed. Lot of 404 messages generated, which could be a possible vulnerability scanner from this particular IP, and I'm expecting your response on this. Like this, you can create one. Now, I'm done with this one. This is one play. Like this, you can create multiple play. Yes, this is the first play. Now, let's create another play. What play we can create? Okay. Do you know what is DNS, right? Do we know what is DNS? Do you remember what is DNS? Say yes or no, so that it will be easy.
The domain name service.
Okay, perfect. What it does? What is the need of it? I think few classes back only we have seen some DNS related activities. Basically, the DNS is meant for what? Resolving the fully qualified domain name into an IP address, right? Now here, what is that I mentioned? It's not a typo. It is called DDNS. What is that? DDNS is nothing but dynamic DNS. Now, what is the purpose of it? Now, see, what is your IP address? What is the IP address that you have received from, what is this? Where is that? Okay, I'm sorry. Now, if I type what is my IP address, I can get the IP address, the public IP address that I have received from my service provider. This is my IP address, 59.98.63.223. All right. Now, if I restart my DSL router, I may not get the same IP address, because in India, we don't have the concept of static IP address for the residential users, right? So you are living in US where a static IP address is being provided. Now, let's see that. Okay. John, can you please share your screen? Let me stop my screen here. Okay, here it is. John, can you please share your screen? Or anyone, could you please share your screen?
But like I share your screen, is John is not action.
Ball, are you there?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying to share mine.
Okay. Now open up your browser and ask, type what is my IP address. That's the first IP address. That's the IP address 24.155.137.211. Please note this IP address. Why? Because even if you restart your DSL router, and after a month, you can see the same IP address for you. For me, it is not the case. My IP address will continuously change. It purely depends on my service provider. If I disconnect my internet connection with the service provider and reconnect it, I'll get a different IP address. For the people in US, it is not the case. So majority of them, you will be getting a public IP address as a static IP address. For us, we will get the public IP address and we will get it dynamically, which is not going to be permanently associated to me, right? So as I restart, I may get a different IP address. For you, it is not the case. Now, if you want, you can note down this IP address. You can check this out. But what is the significance of knowing this one? Now, assume that you would like to run a web server or web service. You would like to have a website. What do? You need to approach the hosting service provider who is responsible for hosting your web services. And then you can host your website. And then a public IP address will be given. And that public IP address will be mapping to your website. So somebody is looking for that particular domain name that will be resolved to the IP address of your hosting service provider. Then the website could be accessible. Now, if you want a web server website, you don't need to approach any hosting provider. All you need is what? A domain name. Once you have registered the domain name, you can point the IP address associated to the domain name to 24.155.137.211. That's it. Your job is over, right? So that website could be accessible. For me, it is not going to be happening. I need to depend on the hosting service provider who can provide a static IP address for my fully qualified domain name. If I'm going to be hosting a website in my home machine, the laptop, whatever I'm working on it, can I do that one? Yes, I can do that one. But what will happen if my DSL router starts, my IP address will also change. Then dynamically, I need to move and change the IP address associated to my fully qualified domain name into the newly assigned IP address. Only then my website will work. You're getting my point, what I'm saying? Okay. Now, if you want, you take a screenshot of your public IP address so that later on, maybe by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, check for it. You will get the same IP address. If you're getting the same IP address, understand that you are getting a static IP address from your service provider. If you change the service provider, only then the IP address will change. For me, even if I don't change the service provider, if I restart my machine, if I restart my DSL router, I will get the same, I will get a different IP address, right?
Okay.
All right. Now you can stop your share.
Okay.
I'm sharing my screen now. Okay. Now, what I have to do, assume that gopivenkatesan.in. This is the domain name that I have registered. And this domain name is going to be associated to the IP address, what I have seen here. Where is my IP address? So this is the IP address, okay? Now, what will happen if somebody is accessing gopivenkatesan.in? I can associate this IP address. But probably what will happen if this IP address changes, my website will not work. To address this issue, I can take the help of this DDNS, right, as a plugin. I can have my DSL router configured to update this change of IP address to the DNS server dynamically, right? for which I need to register myself with the DDNS service provider, right? So there are so many things that we can achieve. But as a cybersecurity analyst and as a beginner, you need to know that this could lead to so many queries are being exchanged between the DNS server. This could be a possible threat. Depending on the IP address, what you are receiving from the service provider, if it is going to be a static IP, DDNS queries will not be there. Within an organization, do you think that you're going to be seeing a lot of DDNS queries? Not even a single query that you will be seeing it. Because if it is an organization, obviously you would have paid for a static IP address. Even for your case, even though you are a residential user, still you are getting a static IP address. Now, if you see a lot of DDNS queries, understand that it could be a potential threat, right? So if you see the HTTP post operations to these kind of a DDNS server, understand it has to be further investigated. So this is my play. I need to create the set of methodologies associated to it. Now, what is the play here? We need to see if there is any DDNS queries are being exchanged, and maybe a potential number of, you can have hundreds, you can have 200, you can have 300 as the number. You can configure that as a threshold. Then the assignee is going to be my tier 1. The frequency, again, daily. I can say the escalation path is going to be my...
Mr. Gopi, sorry to take you back. So the
Yes, please.
description in this second example is what now? Is it the DDNS? Is that the description?
Yes, exactly. If you see lot of DNS queries, DDNS queries, understand that this could be a possible threat. I need to escalate this to my tier 2 engineer. You getting my point?
Yes, Mr. Gopi, I got you.
Okay. Okay. Now this escalation is going to be my tier 2 engineer. Methodologies, I would like to find my queries. I would like to find the queries. If anything, ddnnss.public, dynamo.public, and then dbind.public. These are all the domains. They provide the dynamic DNS. If any messages, any HTTP post messages are happening to these particular websites, I would like to escalate this to my tier 2 engineers for further analysis. I could possibly identify this could be a threat, but I'm not very sure whether this is a threat or not. Now, what I have to do, I have my security onion with me. I would like to execute the query on this. It's my security onion. Here it is, right? Okay. Now, one by one, I would like to run the query here. Again, the date is going to be the same. Let me minimize this. If not, I need to keep on. My response is very slow. Probably the server is not responding properly. When I click, it is taking a little bit of time to respond for that. Now, I have this query now. Let's go ahead. I don't want this one. Let me close this query. Now, I would like to pass on the query. Now, the class is going to be, oh, my goodness, bro_HTTP method is equal to post. And I would like to limit the number of entries to 9999. And then I'm interested in filtering based on the site ddnnss.public, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm interested into HTTP post. I see that more number of entries towards ddnnss.public on these dates. Show me anything related to that. Invalid filter class. I made a mistake. See here.
That
This is
bro.
broth.
Yeah.
It's not broth. Okay. I think I'm feeling hungry. Okay. Now, errors unmatched. There is nothing is available here on ddnnss.public. Here is the site. DDNNSS. There is no queries associated to that. Now, let me go ahead and check the next dynamic DNS service provider just to look into any post messages happened against this site or not. The site is dynamo.public. Now, I'm just executing the query. Again, there is no matching options. So let me go ahead and say that dbind.public.
Mr. Gopi,
Yes, please.
is this GREP, is it deliberate? I thought it's group by you used in the previous query.
That is for grouping. This is grep.
This is for what?
Grep is nothing. Grep is for filtering the output. See, if I don't use this one, you will get a lot of queries, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
If it is resulting lot of queries, I may need to see one by one. But what I'm interested in is I think HTTP method is that is a problem. That's why the query is not coming up. Okay, I'll tell you one thing. Now, if I see the HTTP method is equal to post. Now, what happens? A lot of HTTP post methods could be sending the could be fetched from my result, right? See, lot of post messages are coming in. Now, you can see that one 130 records are there. Can you see that? Can you see them? 130 records are there, which is related to my post message. Let's say, if I say Genesis or mail.google.com, whatever it might be. This is a HTTP GET request, okay? Now, if I sign in with my username and password, now what happens? In HTTP, there is a method called as post, using which the input from the user is given to the server for the validation. Now, if I say KV Gopi, what basically happens? I'm giving my username as KV Gopi. Then it is asking for the password. I'm entering my password. Then the password is going to be shared with the web server for authenticating my username, right? Now, which method is going to be used to submit the data entered by the user to the web server is called post. If you have a web server, don't you expect that a lot of post messages could be available? Am I right or not? There'll be a lot of post messages, right? Even if I take this out, the limit. Now, what happens? Now, can you see them? Again, 130 messages are there, records 100 of 130 is what being shown here. So, on a specific date, right, 130 post messages have been collected by the bro. Now, in a production environment, how many messages you could see potentially? More number of messages. Am I right or not? Now, I'm interested in looking into lot of post messages towards the dynamic DNS web service providers or the DNS service providers. That is where I'm doing the grep. Now, what the grep will do is, it is going to be looking into specific information from the output, and it is going to be shown to me only that specific output. Here, there are, see, client Google is there. I'm not interested in Google. Can you see this one, symcd.com, right? I'm not interested in it. I'm interested only on the messages which is going towards the website called ddnnss.public. If you see the post messages going to ddnnss.public, fetch them from the output and show only that to me. I'm not interested in viewing everything. Now, if you do, I'm not very sure. Okay. If you're seeing the configuration as a whole, everything will be shown to you. I'm interested only in the specific portion of the configuration, then I can filter it. You remember the netstat command we have used? Right? It will be listing out all the listening port numbers. Am I right or not? See how many port numbers are being listened by my machine. Every connection is going to be shown to me, right? Instead of that, I can also put this grep command, scan 80. I can give this information. Only wherever you see 80 in this output, that alone will be shown to me. Grep is basically to filter out the output. Only the filtered output will be shown to me. I think I made a mistake. What's that? Minus AN. Correct? Okay, let me do one more thing. Do I have the grep? No, I don't have the grep associated here. Probably, give me a minute. I will show you. Using grep in Mac. See, that's all. Grep the search string, that's all. Now let me go back to my shell. Let's start minus grep 80. Let me see whether it is showing or not. Let's start.
Keep spelling net start wrongly.
Now it is correct only, no? It's not taking the query. Now, basically, if I would like to filter, see, a lot of informations are coming in. If I'm interested only on this thing, I want to see only the messages which are related to 6114. Then I can use the grep command. Probably I'm using a wrong format. But I can filter out from the output, only the filtered output will be shown to you. That is the reason for using grep. Group, you are not filtering it out. You are grouping the messages according to the source IPs. It is not filtering it. It is grouping it. Here, grepping is a view filter. If I don't use the filter, all the messages will be shown to me, which I may need to manually scroll down one by one, open them, analyze them individually. Instead of that, I can use the grep command to filter only the specific set of information. Now see here how many messages are coming in. Nothing. Can you see that? 0 out of 0. Now if I change this query to dynamo.public and then submit the query, check it out, anything is coming in or not. Nothing. Then, sorry, this is not Dynamo, this is Dynamio. That's the wrong website. Now, dynamo.public. Check it out, anything is coming in or not? No, nothing. Is that correct? Dynamo.public? Yes. One more thing. One more website we are interested in. Which one is dbind.public? Submit the query. 0 records. See, don't expect that whenever you are running a query, always there will be something for the observation, right? They might be there, they might not be there. So I'm looking into the HTTP, method is post, I'm fetching the information, but I don't want to see everything. Based on this condition, if anything matches, then show it to me. This is the view filter. grep is nothing but the view filter. If you notice something related to these websites, one is this one. What is that? Dynamo.public, ddnnss.public, and then we also have something called as dbind.public. None of the query resulted with some output. Because of that, I can understand there is nothing happened towards this dynamic DNS. All I have to understand here is what? There is nothing, I don't need to escalate. So every day you need to run this query. Probably you could automate it. If you have enough amount of resources to achieve this automation, then you can do it. The world, especially the cybersecurity industry, is moving towards the automation part of it, right? So a lot of processes are being automated. If you have a sound knowledge on how to automate these kind of activities, and your organization has enough budget for that, obviously you can also automate these activities, right? But here, if you see any kind of a post message according to our query, and then make sure that you are opening up a ticket, and this ticket can be assigned to the tier 2 analyst team. Who is opening the ticket? Tier 1 engineer is opening up the ticket. Okay, this is the second play we understood. Like this, there will be so many plays that you can create, and collectively, it is known as a playbook. If you want, I will explain you one more play here. Let's say, again, the DNS, because we are a little bit familiar with DNS over TCP. What is this? DNS
Mr.
over
Gopi,
TCP. Yes,
sorry
please.
to break
Yes,
your,
please.
yes.
Yes,
Under
please.
the
Yes, please.
methodologies for DDNS, when you did this query, you did DDNN, double NSS. Why is it different from using the DDNS itself to search?
DDNS is a service offered by many service providers. Okay. One of the service provider is ddnnss.public. Within your organization, right, if you have the DDNS service utilization and the domain name on the DNS server is going to be registered with this DDNNSS. Okay, let me say this is going to be like this. Just taking my pen to explain this. Let's assume this is your organization, okay? And you have the sensor which is looking for some specific set of information and collecting the data and stored somewhere, right? Now, there are certain service providers like here, ddnnss.public, dynamo.public, dbind.public. These are all the service providers related to DDNS, okay? These three are, this is not that only these three are the service providers. There are so many service providers. We just took the case as ddnnss.public, dynamo.public, dbind.public, okay? Now, within your organization, if you are utilizing the service of DDNS, what you normally do, you will be sending the post message frequently to these service providers. Now, within my infrastructure, I have this security onion, which is capturing the data. As a security analyst, you are running the query on the captured data to see whether any post messages are being sent to this DDNS servers. If there is any post messages have been seen by you, then you are escalating this information to the tier 2 engineer for further analysis. You're getting my point now? Does it make sense?
Mr. Gopi, makes sense.
Okay, all right. So This is the DDNS. Now we are looking into DNS over TCP. Okay. Now we know that DNS uses UDP and TCP. UDP is being used for name resolution. TCP is for the zone file transfer. That is a typical case of it. But anyway, TCP can also be used if the response data exceeds 512 bytes. See, this is the name resolution, okay? When you give a name, that name resolved into an IP address, by that time, UDP is what going to be used. Whereas, this is for zone file transfer. What is the zone file? Zone file is the file in which the domain names associated to the IP addresses will be maintained. When you have multiple DNS servers, the information related to those domain names needs to be synchronized between the DNS servers. That is going to be happening through the help of TCP, right? Apart from that, if the response from the DNS server is greater than 512 bytes, then automatically, instead of using UDP, it will use TCP. Right? Now, whenever you are looking into the DNS related information on your logs, which is making use of TCP, understand that somebody is trying to communicate with your DNS server to synchronize the zone file, which is not a legitimate action. You are having your DNS server within your organization. That DNS server is getting the information from the external world or from someone within the organization. Due to that, the zone files available within your DNS server could be modified. That may lead to some sort of attacks. You're getting my point? Is that clear? What I'm saying? See, let me. Now, you have your DNS server, okay? This is your DNS server. What is this DNS server is responsible for? Within your organization, if anybody is trying to access a fully qualified domain name for web service, for FTP service, for mail service, the domain name is going to be resolved into an IP address by my DNS server. This is owned by your organization, right? So all these entries available within the DNS server is going to be used by this service. Whenever the user is asking for the IP address, I will look into these entries and then I will respond back to them. You're getting my point? This is what the DNS server is going to be doing it. Now, what if this DNS server has been compromised by an attacker so that he can make some false entries into it that can be leading to some other IP address is being shared, even the request is given to the genuine website. Quite possible or not? Now, I need to safeguard my DNS server. In turn, I can safeguard my internal users. Now, how do I do that one? One of the thing is what? I don't expect any TCP related queries given to the DNS server. If it is TCP, I know that it is related to the zone file transfer. I'm not expecting any sort of a zone file transfer from someone else, right? If I see any kind of a TCP related messages towards the DNS server, I understand that it could be a potential attack. Now, what I have to do, I need to escalate it. Now, again, the assigning of this play is tier 1. How frequent we are going to be running this one? Every day. Escalation is the tier 2. Then the methodology, I would like to run a query class. Now, here it is not HTTP, it is bro_DNS, right? And protocol is equal to TCP. What I'm trying to do on my ELSA, I'm looking into the messages related to bro DNS. If it is using TCP, please show me that information to me. so that I can understand any TCP related activities happened against my DNS server or not. Now again, I'm opening up my security onion. Where is my security onion? Here it is. Yeah. Now here, let me close all these queries. I'm not interested in all these queries now. I'm interested in if you want these queries to be shared with you, I'll make it as a document today. I will share it. Now the other document is a half the way. Almost I have completed. Few more things needs to be created. Once that is created, I will share it with you. Now I'm interested in Bro DNS protocol is going to be TCP, right? I'm running this query. If I see anything, no, there is no messages, right? There is no TCP related DNS messages I have seen on the given date, then I can be very sure there is no threat is happening against my DNS server. So every day, a tier 1 engineer is responsible for running this query on the previous day data. If he sees that any messages and he's suspecting on that, then he will be escalating this information to the tier 2 engineer. This is the play. Now, collection of play is what we are calling it as a playbook. Now, we understood the threat, we understood the attack, and we understood how the logs are being collected as part of the cybersecurity team, how you will be hunting for those kind of activities within your organization. Now, we are trying to get into the plays. The play are being grouped together as a day-to-day responsibility assigned to the set of team. When these activities are being performed, right, you are fetching some data that may lead to some set of information related to a threat, and you are escalating that information to the tier 2 engineers for the further analysis of the same. So tier 1 engineer may not be performing any specific activity. Again, it is not a condition. Depending on the playbook, depending on the organization, a tier 1 engineer may also required to execute certain activities if something found. Like this, you can construct multiple plays in a playbook of your organization, and then you will be defining the details of each and every play, right? And then this is going to be your guide for your day-to-day activities. Like this, you can run a hell lot of play. Those many play that you can create depending on the service that you're offering, depending on the threat that you are expecting, right? Depending on the resource what you have. This is what the day-to-day activity of a cybersecurity analyst who is starting his career in cybersecurity industry, right? You should know that what are all the threats that could be possible against your network. You should know that what kind of a query that you have to run to identify if there is any threat launched against your infrastructure or not. If you find something, then obviously you can escalate to your tier 2 engineers, or whatever the playbook says, you can do that one. You're getting my point?
Yes, Mr.
Sorry, just give me 1 minute. I'm just bringing some water.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this, you have to do the analysis. And then you may be reporting it. The number of play within your playbook could be varying. The type of play that could be varying, right? The methodology that could be varying, right? So you need to understand that there is a playbook. The playbook consists of the play. Play is going to be a set of activities, right? So this would be your day-to-day responsibility within your cybersecurity SOC team analyst. All right. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Mr. Gopi, can you further clarify this UDP and TCP? That's the domain name service. When do you said it, when it's UDP, it has to do with name resolution. I really didn't get that part. And this methodology that you use for the DNS over TCP, class DNS Pro2 equals to TCP. Can we also use UDP in place of TCP?
You can, but that is not going to be considered as a potential threat.
Why?
Normally, okay. Let's see that Bola is asking questions in the class, right? Inside the class, Bola is keep asking the questions to clarify her doubt. That is the behavior. Every day, Bola is asking these many number of questions. That's a normal behavior of Bola. Assume that on one day, Bola is not opening her mouth.
Is Bola is sick or hungry?
Maybe, I don't know. She may be having the throat infection back. I don't want that to happen. I'm just telling you, right? So, normal behavior of the DNS, it uses UDP, right? TCP-based DNS messages are seen, which could be a potential threat. As a cybersecurity analyst, if I notice that one, I'm escalating that. If it is UDP, that is normal. I don't need to worry about it. See, if I open up my browser, that is my browser. If I say something like facebook.com, this is a normal behavior, correct? When I type this facebook.com, this domain name needs to be resolved into an IP address for which this is going to be sent to the DNS server for name resolution. That uses UDP. That's a normal behavior. But why would a user is sending a TCP-based DNS query to the DNS server, which is not expected? If I'm doing it, that could be a potential threat. So cybersecurity analyst team is collecting this information and they're escalating that information to the tier 2 engineer for further actions towards it. You getting my point? If it is TCP, it could be a potential threat. I'm not saying that it is a threat. It could be a potential threat. If it is UDP, that's a normal behavior. Why should I report it? If Bola is talking in a class, it's a normal behavior. Why should I worry about it? If Bola is not talking in the class, then I have to worry. What happened, Bola? Why you are not talking? I need to ask the question, right? That is what I'm trying to say here. UDP-based DNS queries are normal. Even if I query, I'm seeing some information, I don't need to worry about it. Whereas TCP-based DNS messages, if I see, I need to have my suspect on that packets. Messages. Why TCP-based DNS messages are coming in? It is not supposed to be. Because it's a private DNS server. It's owned by me, my organization, not someone else. Not anyone can send the query. Except my internal users, they cannot send the query to my DNS server. So if I see some kind of a TCP-based DNS messages in my organization, I can suspect on that. Then I can report it to my higher officials. Is that clear?
Yes, Mr. Gopi, thank you.
Right. So these are all the scenarios that you have to construct. It's not that eventually that will happen as you grow in your career. You define the play, you define the playbook for the people. But as part of starting your career in cybersecurity, you need to know there is something called as a play, right? According to the play, I need to do my activity. And then if required, I may need to take some action, or I may need to escalate this to my higher officials. Like this, variety of play can be created. Play is nothing but an activity. Playbook is nothing but collection of this play. Every play could be responsible for looking into some specific information and then towards the cyber threat activity, right? So that's the point I'm trying to say here. Like this, we can construct n number of play. It's not that only these are all the set of play. I just gave you a couple of examples, that's all. Like this, you can create multiple play depending on the organization, depending on the services what you have, depending on the responsibility of the sort. It could vary. Right? Okay. By this, we are concluding our course. We have seen the threat, we have seen the attack, we have seen how the messages are being collected, we have seen how to perform the hunting, and then we have seen the playbook. This is the sequence. Any questions? If you want this kind of a place to be created and shared it with you, I can do that one also. Whatever comes into my mind, I will create a play, I will share the details, and then I can share it with you. You can keep that as a reference. That may be helpful for you during your career, during your job also.
That would be helpful, Mr. Gopi.
I will do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
Any questions?
So, Mr. Gopi, you are owing us 3 documents now, right?
I have to send 3 documents now.
Okay.
I will send it across. The first document related to the commands will take, that's what is taking more of time. The rest of the things I can prepare it just like that. Not a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your support. Joseph, here we are concluding our course. The cyber CCNS cyber ops is getting completed today. Joseph, you're there?
So today is the last day?
Yes, towards the CCNS cyber ops.
So are we doing revisions to questions?
You can. See, towards the delivery, that is the last day. You are free to ask any questions. And we are planning, already I think we have a plan of having a clarification session after a week. If you want tomorrow itself, the clarification session, I don't have any problem. It's up to you.
So this is the last topic for the cyber.
Yes, yes, cyber ops.
Okay. So the class, what do you guys want to do next?
I think we should schedule a date to, like, for a revision class, A to Z revision class, then we can ask our further questions. Maybe it would be nice to have some days to go through all the recordings. Then we can now schedule a class to do like a revision with Mr. Gopi. Then we can ask our questions there.
We have like, this one will make it like we have 16 recordings. So if you guys go through recordings, 2 recordings a day from tomorrow. So
Joseph, just give me some 2 days prior notice, which is more than enough for me.
okay.
When do you want it to have the class? So once they are ready, if you can give the information so that I'll be available on that day.
Yeah, so let's say you guys do 8 days to review the Gobi, can you put on the screen the exam topics? Let's go over it for this cyber up, the exam
I think
topic.
I have shared that one already. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Now, if you see the syllabus, you may not be able to understand. That's
okay.
how they have kept it.
So do you have any access to like past questions, no, that they can go through? Anyone or that to give an idea how the questions are going to look like?
I will share the questions also if you want.
Okay.
A set of questions.
Exactly. So that will give them, once you go through those when you go through those videos, 2 videos a day, then everybody will gather their questions. Then we're going to do the revision. And answer, then every one of you will schedule your exams. We'll now schedule a day to start the second modules. We're going to start the IAM class. Why they schedule that? Let's see. Before we need the IAM class, some of you would have taken like the exam, and let's see your performance on them. So John and Buke, Ama, what do you guys think the best way to go about it?
Let's go back and listen to the videos. Like we said, 1 week, I guess. 1 week, and then we'll come back for revision.
Yeah. John, are you there?
Yeah, I think what Sister Bola said made sense. I don't know if you agreed with it.
What?
Sister Bola said something like a review class or something. I don't know if you agreed with that, but it's okay. Just give us a week and then let's do some review. If he has a review class, that will still be good.
That will be the review class now.
Okay.
Yeah, that review class, I'm going to hold with Gopi. Gopi said we should give him 2 days to the time we will have fixed for the review class. We might do it longer time. Instead of 1 hour 30 minutes, might be the full 2 hours or full 2 hours 10 minutes. Just it depends on the question you guys have. Might do it less, depends. So depending on the questions you guys have, everything, maybe when you play with the tools or whatever questions. You remember we have a group, and then when you are playing with the tools and everything, you have any issues, just type it and put it on that group. Gopi will respond. And on that on our WhatsApp group. These are when you are going through the videos, you have issues maybe that you think it cannot wait, because it can stop you from going forward before the 8 days. You can just post it on the group. Gopi will respond and just tell you what to do, especially when it relates to the tools, using the tools. So before the 8 days, then we'll now inform him the day we have chosen for the review. Then after the review, we're going to go through how you guys can schedule your exams on the what is it called? What is that exam site called again? I've forgotten it in my head. It's not working. The exam site, yeah, where they can schedule the exam. I think it's on
VUV.com. Well, don't worry about the exams now. Let's finish the content first.
Okay.
I'm there until you complete your exam. Don't worry.
Okay.
Even after the exams, if you're having some questions also, still you can call me. You can contact me. Once a student is always a student for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. So yeah, and what the other ones after that we can schedule out to when we're going to start the second modules, the second course. Then Gopi, also there are some things you have not given us. Remember those the key for the VMs. Don't forget to send it. Then yesterday you're supposed to put in give us a document that has to do with the commands.
The command I'm still preparing, Joseph.
Yeah.
That part is still pending. I'm yet to complete it. Once I complete it, I will share it. Probably, I think I'll be able to complete it today, because today I have only the night work, not the day work.
Oh,
So I'll be able to finish that also.
okay. And these are the things that I spend. Bola, is there anything I spending on Gopi apart from those ones?
Yeah, and today's Gopi promised to help us put some of the plays together and share with us, and the codes also. Right? Correct, Mr. Gopi?
Which one?
You said you will help us put together some plays.
Yeah. I will do that one. Whatever the class notes is there, I will send it now. The play, I will create it. I will share it with you.
Okay.
Okay, and the commands also.
Yeah.
Yes. That is pending.
Technology.
That is also pending. I'm yet to complete it.
No, not that one, not the old one. I'm talking about today's one. You said you can share
Yes,
some of these
I will share that.
methodologies.
Yes, that I will do it. I will do it.
Okay.
How to filter. Okay. Guys, have you tried to create the different VMs to install the security onions and the SAP and those stuff?
I haven't tried it, sir.
Because if
I
you
will
don't
do
do that, if you don't create that on ESA, if you don't create your ESA too, even if we share the command, you don't have anywhere to practice it, right? For today.
We'll do that before.
Yeah, just create the VM, create the VM. Whatever your resources is, if you are doing one VM, you just switch up the other one to practice.
Okay. Thank you.
All right then. The class notes, I'm just sending it now. I will construct the set of plays, and then I will share it another document also. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. See you soon.